A very good afternoon. You're watching India Today with me, Nabila Jamal. I'm right now in Kodagu, Coorg district of Karnataka, which is seeing a surge in cases. District areas right now is facing quite a crisis as the positivity rate in these district areas are quite high. South states still seems like it's gripped with the second wave of COVID-19. I'm going to take you through all those stories starting from this one in Bengaluru. Quite a shocking incident that's come to light where the BBMP, trying to force a young man to take a COVID test, eventually assaulted him. And that assault has now been caught on cameras. We're looking at these visuals here where BBMP's high-handedness, brazen high-handedness there by the authorities in full public glare. The video that's shown, that's gone viral now on social media, shows two BBMP staffers hitting the victim, dragging him towards a makeshift sample collection table. And when the person tries to escape, he was beaten up and even pushed below the table to give samples. The incident has taken place near Dharmaraya Swami Temple in Bengaluru, and reacting to this incident, BBMP Commissioner Gaurav Gupta in a tweet has said that an investigation has now been ordered. Strict action will be taken against the guilty. He said that officials cannot force people to undergo an RT-PCR test, even though the BBMP is, of course, trying to ramp up test numbers. I'm going to quickly cut across to Nagarjun, who's brought us this story here. Nagarjun, absolutely awful. BBMP's brazen high-handedness in full view here. BBMP Commissioner says that this is not right, but what punishment has been meted out, or how have the officials who've assaulted this man been taken to task?
In fact, the police have registered a suo motu case in Bangalore DCP Central Zone. 304 IPC has been registered. The investigation is on. Most likely, the person who's involved in this video, where we can see him assaulting the person who came for RT-PCR test, will be arrested soon, is what we are told. They're just checking the facts because they want to make sure that before they arrest the person, they want to be utterly clear that this was an attack which was not provoked by the other person. So what exactly happened was the person who you have seen is getting beaten up had come to get his test, but hesitated. But the BBMP officials wanted to forcefully take his samples, and that's when the assault happened. So a case has been registered, and also BBMP commissioner has gone and said that that was a mistake on the part of the officials, but investigation is underway.
Nagarjun, thank you very much for joining us with those details. Now I'm going to quickly cut across. Focus here at a Bengaluru hospital where two people came by, created quite a ruckus, in fact even damaged property only because they wanted to meet the family members inside the hospital. This of course has come as quite a shocker, as these two people have been arrested now for attacking the security staff, the health staff at the BGS hospital in Bengaluru. The two thrashed hospital staff after they were allegedly not allowed to see their mother, who was being treated for COVID-19 at that hospital. Desperate there, these people waited to meet their family members, but were quite in an inebriated state as well. Nagarjun, over to you. What more do we know about these individuals, and for them to thrash the health officials at the BGS college, what punishment has been given to them? They've been arrested, we understand?
In fact, this happened late last night. Both the patients' relatives were there, and they tried to assault the staff and security guard for them to go inside and meet the patient. But remember, in COVID hospitals, no one else is allowed. Once the patient enters the hospital ward, it is the duty of the hospital to take care. No family will be allowed. But here, they were in a state of under the influence of alcohol. They were not in the sober sense, and they tried to assault the staff in BGS hospital. Immediately, the DCP West and his police team swung into action and have arrested both the people and taken under custody for police custody for further cases. In Karnataka state alone, cases such like these have been increasing, and that's the reason Home Department is saying that they have to keep a right vigil, and CCTV cameras have been put in place in every hospital so that the family also can make sure that they see what treatment the family relative who's admitted gets how they're treated.
Right. Nagarjun, thank you very much for joining us with those details. We do know that people are stressed, but this is no way to behave while hospital authorities are doing everything to curb the spread of the infection. And there are, of course, visiting hours. Now, shifting focus to Mysuru district, we know that desperate times calls for desperate measures, and that's what we saw here. queuing up right outside banks were senior citizens who had no other choice because they don't have net banking facility. They have to stand in long queues only to get their pension amount there. These senior citizens, many of whom were not even vaccinated, said that they had no other choice, they had no help, and it was mandatory for them to appear in person before the bank authorities to sign and then collect the pension amount. They say it's either way a do-or-die situation for these individuals. Quite a sorry state of affairs where despite the lockdown, senior citizens have to brave the pandemic and step out only to get their hard-earned money. While most of us are able to manage our finances online amid the pandemic, it's really important not to step out. You have these areas, rural areas, like I am right now at Mysuru district, where people, especially senior citizens, have to brave this pandemic, come out, stand in long queues outside banks, only to get hold of their hard-earned money. Many of them waiting for their pension, many others wanting to do some kind of transaction, in fact get withdraw money in bulk so that they can cut short the trips to the ATMs. I have one person right here. So you've come here amid the pandemic, risking your health, waiting at a bank amid this crowd. Why can't you manage it online? Do you have that facility?
I do have the facility, but in rural areas, people do not have this net banking facility, and so essentially they require cash. Therefore, we need to make one visit to bank and keep sufficient money, which will last for about a month or so.
So this is one of the banks here in Mysuru where senior citizens are trying to get their pension. It's really heartwarming to see them coming by themselves amid this pandemic. Like I said, it is risky as it is. Many senior citizens have succumbed in the first wave, but despite that, when we speak to them here, Tada nim vaccination agidya? Vaccine injection. All right, great. So he's got his injection. Nimdu? All right, so this is Mysuru district, and you would see sites like this across most areas, rural areas across India. Karnataka is no different. People are forced to step out amid the lockdown only to get access of their money to move on with their daily routine. With camera person Pavan Kumar, Nabila Jamal for India Today, Mysuru. All right, cutting across to Hassan district in Karnataka. We know that Hassan is home to former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda, former Chief Minister Kumaraswamy. It is a district where you have all the political stalwarts who belong, many of them. And this is the same district that's right now reeling under the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. Nolan Pinto brings us this ground report.
A turf of former Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda and son H.D. Kumaraswamy. Karnataka's Hassan is famous for the 65-feet statue of Gomateshwara overlooking the Vindhyagiri Hills. The COVID situation here is not different from other rural areas. Troubled by lack of medical facilities, delayed test results, and hard to get vaccines. After government banned home isolation in rural areas, asymptomatic and those with mild symptoms are being forced into COVID care centers. Many buildings have been converted into COVID care centers to manage the increasing cases. This center has over 280 COVID positive persons, and the numbers are expected to rise.
From morning 7 o'clock we will start the facilities. First we'll start with coffee, then followed by that we'll give breakfast. Then after that we'll go on general checkup inside. If we feel something is fishy or something is going wrong, we'll refer the patient directly to the COVID center, which is there in our hospital, Chandrapatna.
But all is not well here. Only a few days after this was set up on May 20th, the inmates protested due to lack of facilities.
Sir, COVID center 20ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಓಪನ್ ಆಯಿತು. 5 ದಿನ ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ. 2 ದಿನ ಬಿಸಿನೀರು ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೂ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಇತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗ ಜಿಲ್ಲಾ ಉಸ್ತುವಾರಿ ಮಂತ್ರಿ ಬಂದೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಈಗ 3 ದಿನದಿಂದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಿಸಿನೀರು ವಾಟರ್ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಿಸಿನೀರು ವಾಟರ್ ಸ್ನಾನ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನೂ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ. ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಮೊನ್ನೆ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕು ಆಗಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. 1 ದಿನ 2 ದಿನ ಸ್ಟ್ರೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಗ್ರೂಪಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಏನೇನೋ ಅಂತ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. 3 ದಿನದಿಂದ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಈಗ.
Asha workers who move door to door to persuade COVID-positive people to go to care centers face the biggest hardship.
ಟೀ ಕಾಫಿ ಎಲ್ಲದೂ ಇದೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ, ಆದರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇನ್ನು ಬಾಕಿಯವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮನೇಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಊಟ ಸಿಗಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಮನೇಲೇ, ನಮ್ದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಮನೆ ಇದೆ, ಆ ಮನೇಲೇ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ, ಒಟ್ಟಿಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ.
The local MLA says the government has pulled out all stops to ensure best facilities at COVID centers. But others claim a stepmotherly treatment compared to Bengaluru.
ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇವತ್ತು CCC ಸೆಂಟರ್ಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಓಪನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಸಿಂಪ್ಟಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆತಂದು ಸುಮಾರು 8ರಿಂದ 10 ದಿವಸಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆಯನ್ನು ಒದಗಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಹೋಮ್ ಐಸೋಲೇಷನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಥರ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಊಟ ಉಪಚಾರ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೊಟ್ಟು 10 ದಿವಸದ ತರುವಾಯ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮನೆಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ.
ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಧಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯ, ಮನೇಲೇ ಮಾತ್ರ ತೊಗೊತಾರೆ. ಯಾರೋ ಡಾಕ್ಟ್ರುಗಳು ಫೋನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೊದಲು ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೇನೋ ಸುಧಾರಣೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಾರೆ, ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ದವರು ಚನ್ನರಾಯಪಟ್ಟಣ ಬಂದು ಬೇಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮಂಥ ಜನಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗೆ ಬೇಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟ್ಲ್ ಹತ್ರ ಗೋಳಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಾಧ್ಯವೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಸವಲತ್ತನ್ನ ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
In the Shanti Grama village of Hassan, located in Hassan Tehsil, many COVID cases and several deaths have been reported since April. Authorities joined hands with residents to contain the surge.
इस लोग ज़्यादा आने के लिए वो ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो गया है. हमारे ग्राम पंचायती PSI सभी वर्तकों के मिलाकर पिछले महीने में 15 दिन तक हफ्ते में 3 दिन दुकान ओपन करना और 4 दिन कोर करने के लिए कोशिश किए थे. वर्तकों ने इसको बहुत प्रभाव दिया.
So while cases in Bengaluru seem to be falling, that is clearly not the case in the districts and rural parts of Karnataka. So while the lockdown forced a large number of people to rush back to their home districts, the authorities over here are now struggling to put in measures so that they do not face a Bengaluru-like chaotic situation. With video journalist Madhuwar, Nolan Pinto for India Today in Hassan district.
Now, it's a cocktail of drugs that can really help a severe COVID patient. In fact, curb the severity. We're looking at Roche and Cipla, pharma giants, are now planning to bring those drugs to India. This was the same line of treatment that was given to former US President Donald Trump as well. And there's a lot of buzz now in the medical community that a single jab of this can really prevent a COVID severe case. In fact, it can prevent from a mild to moderate case from deteriorating. Let's take a look at this detailed report.
Dr. Trehan, was this the treatment used for the then US President Donald Trump? He was back on his feet in less than a week, sir?
Yeah, you're right. It's the same. These are known as monoclonal antibodies.
The wonder drug which treated former US President Donald Trump is now available in India. The cocktail of antibodies developed by Roche will be useful in treating mild to moderate coronavirus in adults and pediatric patients. The combined dose of casirivimab and imdevinab can be procured only with a medical prescription. The intravenous administration takes about 20 to 30 minutes, and the patients should be monitored for an hour during inoculation. Let us now tell you how this antibody cocktail works. Both the drugs happen to be monoclonal antibodies produced by the recombinant DNA technology. The antibodies are proteins that mimic immune system's ability to fight pathogens. The antibodies are designed to block COVID's entry into human cells and are efficacious against different variants. However, a single dose of this antibody cocktail costs 59,750 rupees.
This may help hugely in 2 things. One is to prevent people from getting very sick.
Okay.
Also maybe prevent people from needing a hospital bed. And at the end, it will reduce the hospitalization by 3-4 days. And also it is shown evidence that it will reduce the incidence of death.
While the experimental drug is finally available to public, the high price could be a dampener. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, we do know that there's a stringent lockdown in Tamil Nadu, and of course, the government has closed all establishments, including grocery stops as well. At a time like this, just to make it convenient for the public, the government has now rolled out mobile vegetable shops where you can literally get your groceries with a click of a button. They've just rolled it out. Akshaya Nath there takes us through these visuals and reactions of the people who are thrilled to have this service.
We have given passes and banners to over 2,000 small trucks, 1-ton trucks, to go for mobile sale of vegetables and fruits in the 200 wards and 15 zones of the corporation. In addition to that, the zonal officers have also been authorized to give the passes to the push carts and tricycles because they go streetwise. So we are aiming at around 5,000 such push carts to be going for the sale, and already over 2,500 push carts have been given the passes, and we are freely giving these passes.
The TN government had recently announced that there will be a complete lockdown which will be followed till the 31st of May in Tamil Nadu, and after that, they also stated that vegetable shops and fruit shops will also remain shut during this period. This is to ensure that the COVID-19 situation is brought under control. And the state had promised that they will be sending vegetable and fruits via vehicles and push carts. And what we can see here in the city of Chennai right now is that vehicles are coming from the panchayats or the municipalities or the corporation, and thereby catching to the needs of the common man. And over 2,000 vehicles have been set up by the Greater Chennai Corporation, and similarly 5,000 tricycles and push carts have also been put into place. This is to ensure that people do not venture out, but at the same time they get access to all the requirements like vegetables and fruits.
Now, shifting focus to Chennai, there was huge uproar amid the pandemic. In Chennai, a school teacher, while conducting online classes, was allegedly sexually harassing students there. Now, due to that uproar, the Chennai police has now arrested that teacher of the very popular education institution called Padma Sheshadri Balabhavan. The teacher has been arrested for sexual harassment, as students as well as alumni have accused that he used to wear a towel and sit for online classes. He's even sent out inappropriate messages to girl children or students there saying very cute, etc. Now, this man, the teacher, has been arrested under the POCSO Act. In fact, the teacher has been charged under child sexual abuse law, POCSO, apart from other grave charges. In fact, these are the allegations where he's also constantly been sending out messages to several students, inappropriate messages on their display pictures and whatnot. Now, DMK MP Kanimozhi has sought a detailed probe into this and said that strict action will be taken. She's also sought some more information about these complaints, and even DMK Chennai South MP Tamizachi Tangapandian has also demanded for further probe into this case.
This is the calm before the storm. We are at the Bay of Bengal. This is Balasore, ground zero, and this is where the landfall of Yas is expected. The cyclone is expected to hit on the 26th, but before that, we've seen intermittent rainfall taking place. Behind me is the NDRF team, along with the state administration, going from village to village, house to house, to ensure there's evacuation which is taking place.
हमने सभी गांव वालों को ये बता के रखा है कि इस समुद्र से, अब तूफान से कोई डरने की जरूरत नहीं है। हम लोग आपके साथ हैं, बस ये गांव खाली कर दें ताकि हम आपको बचाने में हमें कोई दुविधा ना आए।
यहाँ पे जितना मतलब यहाँ पे जो गांव है, यहाँ पे पास गांव के 2 रिलीफ सेंटर किए गए हैं, और वहाँ पे लोगों को जितना भी इवैक्यूएट कर रहे हैं उनको भी सोशल डिस्टेंस के तौर पे ही उनको वहाँ पे मतलब फैसिलिटीज करवा दिए हैं।
Behind me, if you can see, that's the distance from this particular shore to the village out there. But clearly, when we talk about the cyclone, it can get as unpredictable. But the point is, to ensure that people are moved in before the cyclone does, and to ensure safety and security, to ensure social distancing. The centre's been moving from one challenge to the other. We saw Cyclone Taukte, and now we're seeing Cyclone Yas. The preparations on the ground with the Home Minister chairing meeting, where it's on ground, how the forces react, that becomes key to success. With camera person Kirpal Singh, this is Kamaljeet Sandhu in Balasore for India Today.